Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is our Theta and T-Fuel special. And because of that, I brought in, I don't know, do I call him an expert? I'm not sure, but he kind of is when I talk to him about it. And that's Rob over at Digital Asset News. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's there goes my volume. Sorry for that, amateur hour here. And of course, as Rob is going to go through the fundamentals and the news and what's happening with Theta and T-Fuel, we have CJ from marketrebellion.com, our crypto analyst who you guys see daily on the show, and he's going to go from a trader's point of view of what's going on with both tickers. So, folks, thank you for joining us. It's Thursday, June 10th, and here we go. CJ?
Take it away.
Thanks for having me, Alex. It's really good to spend some time with you gentlemen once again. Just a reminder before we get started here that nothing said by Digital Asset News, Market Rebellion, myself, or Trade the Chain should be considered financial advice today. This is something we try to do for educational and informative purposes only, but we don't want you to make financial decisions based on the information that's presented here today. So with that being said, gentlemen, any opening thoughts you'd like to share?
Well, I'd like to kind of run through real quickly the overview of the market as we go in. It's been a steady day. The market cap is slowly creeping up. I remember when this was over $2 trillion. Now it's 1.61 trillion. Bitcoin's still neutral on the hourly, as well as Ethereum, who's also neutral on the daily. But there's a lot of bullish green, as CJ would say. I'm kind of stealing his job from the regular segment right now. But yeah, and then, here, just to give everybody an idea on the daily sentiment. Here's our top daily sentiment in descending order: Thorchain, Troy, Thorcoin, Orion Protocol. Let's see if we got any of our favorites on here. Not really. So with that, let's head over into maybe you do about 2 seconds on Bitcoin for the day so everybody gets their fill of that. And then why don't we roll into Theta and T-Fuel, bud?
Awesome. Yeah, I'd be happy to. I actually do want to hear Rob's fundamental take before we get into the actual technicals of Theta, because I think, while technical analysis is important, it's always equally important to understand really what's going on fundamentally in the market and those promotional events or developments, essentially whatever Theta's got going on for it.
Sure. People, hey, when I always ask the question, do you want the good news or the bad news? Give me the good news. All right, I give you the good news. So if you want me to give them the good news and then you come over that's fine with me, CJ. Whatever you want to do.
Great. So with Bitcoin here, I really like the fact that we got this bullish engulfing candle yesterday. And we're able to close strong with relatively increasing volume from the bullish perspective. Also have the CCI turning up finally and reaching some strength. Now we're facing a little bit of resistance, not only from our top outer Bollinger Band here at about 38K, but we also have a lot of resistance coming in from the 200-day moving average. So, what am I doing? How do we play this current market? What I like to look for when it comes to confirmation of bullish continuation is that I want to see this top or outer pink Bollinger Band begin to turn up and have a firm close with price above that level. That is an entry signal to get me into a long trade in something like that. However, we just haven't seen it yet. I think we're on the right track. We just have an immense amount of resistance still at 30K or at 38 to like 42. There's an immense amount of resistance. But if we get that trigger with the top Bollinger Band, I'm definitely going to be looking to enter. Now, I'm not going to completely rule out the fact that, the bottom is in. I think we're getting some really nice signs through the fact that we're creating higher lows in the overall trend. But overall, I just really want to see a breakout above that top outer band. Another thing I want to highlight before passing it back to you guys is the 4-hour chart and the sequential nines, which I'm going to talk about a lot today, especially once we get to Theta. I see Rob smiling. I know he wants to say something.
I want to tell you what, because on somebody on Twitter, they said new drinking game. Every time CJ says sequential 9, everybody has to take a chug of a beer. And I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. Then here we are, sequential 9s. CJ, good stuff.
Maybe a
Sorry.
sip would be more tolerable, but
Yeah,
an
a
entire
sip.
chug would be, we wouldn't make it 15 minutes. And I get it. I get that I talk about it a lot, but imagine if you were driving down a highway going 100 miles an hour and you came up on some yellow lights. Like, you would want to pay attention to those yellow lights. Obviously sometimes you're going to make it through, but other times you don't want the light to turn red, of course.
Yeah.
So anyways, how that relates to our discussion here is that on the 4-hour chart, we did hit what would have been a 9. Price action actually got denied. And so ever since, we've kind of been falling down. But we have strong support here at 36K and 35K. So as long as we hold those levels, I'm still going to be pretty bullish for the rest of the week and, expect this nice little trend to continue. Because, we were talking about this morning kind of on the daily crypto, but it's like, how much bad news can we really throw at this thing before we get an immense reaction rally? And I think we might be kind of turning the cornerstone, and I think we'll know even more once the trend can show us whether or not it can break above 40 or 42K resistance.
Yeah. You know what? When you talk about news, like we had some bad news, but man, it seems like lately it's just good news after good news after good news. So it's like, it's one of those things where I'm like, why doesn't it just, take off? And like CJ said, it's because there's more sellers than buyers. They made it very simple. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But, we'll see what happens.
Rob, let's kick it in. Let's do some fundamentals. Let's start. Listen,
All right.
Why don't we explain to the folks the difference or the purpose of a 2-token system, why there's a Theta and why there's T-Fuel?
So think of it this way. Theta, the token itself, it's used as a governance token, and it's used to, it is the whole blockchain. It is there to secure the network. And then T-Fuel is just the money. Just think of it that way. T-Fuel is just money. But what do you do with it? Let me share my screen. This is over on ThetaToken.org. Okay. So this isn't the one I'm looking for. This one right here. Actually, no, I guess this is here. Here's the problem, right? This is the issue, which is that there is poor streaming service. It's not poor streaming, but as time goes on, we're going to need a lot more streaming. I talked about this before. I'll just do a refresher real quick. What are you doing right now, right there, sitting at home? You're watching me, Alex, and CJ. That takes a lot of bandwidth, right? Not only does it take a lot of bandwidth, a lot of streaming power, a lot of streaming service, but think of this. Google and YouTube in general, they have to buy all these warehouses, and all these warehouses have all these different servers, and they're super expensive to do, right? And imagine, extrapolate that, not just in one country, but throughout the entire world, because you need to have all this different data stored in one place as far as streaming services. What if you could just say, you know what? Instead of having all these servers, which are just a bunch of computers and hard drives, why don't we just do this? People that have their computer, like I got this sweet Mac right here, MacBook Pro something. Let's have them download a software where they can start to stake their Theta and to buy Theta, stake it, and then on top of that, all their unused resources or bandwidth, we can just use that. All you got to do is just connect to our nodes, to our servers, and we'll use your unused bandwidth, and we can use that for all the streaming service. So guess what? Everybody out there is watching this video. That's just one little piece of the pie, right? Think about all the people who are going to start or have already been doing working from home. That needs a lot of streaming service, right? If you're going to be meeting for Zoom, and let's say all the different videos that are out there, there's more streaming services coming on board. So Theta said, we got a problem, let's fix it. So that's the issue. Poor quality, skyrocketing data needs, like we just talked about, centralized and inefficient system. So all those different data centers, all those different warehouses. So what do? Well, here's your solution. You're going to get some validator nodes and some guardian nodes. Validators or enterprise nodes as well. Those are the big guys. Those are the ones that where you stake the Theta, you use that for the network, and that's how you secure the network itself. So once they do that, they earn Theta Fuel, T-Fuel. They can sell T-Fuel. They can put it through the exchange. And then people who actually watch THETA.TV, or people who are actually people like me, a little creator here and there, we get paid in T-Fuel. So it's all a big ecosystem. You stake something, you get a little T-Fuel. You pay for the people who actually create content. Those people sell it on exchanges, and around and around we go. Well, sounds okay. Again, this is how you solve it. Viewers earn rewards as Theta Fuel, higher quality, smoother video streaming, especially if you want to go 4K, 8K, or whatever else is out there, a million K, I don't know. Reduced cost of delivering video streams. So that's a big thing. And that's why this is so big, because, let me move back. This is one of the advisors, Steve Chen, for YouTube. He realizes there was a problem. And when he was an advisor, he goes, this is going to help solve YouTube's problem. See, a lot of people out there, a lot of different projects, they're trying to compete with YouTube. Why? They're the biggest out there. Why don't you just partner up? You want to compete with Amazon? Well, good luck. Why don't you just partner up with Amazon? So that's essentially how it goes. And then here's how you download your Guardian nodes and all this. You know, this is what you use to actually stake your Theta and earn T-Fuel, secure the network, on and on we go. Does that kind of answer that first part of the question?
That was great.
Yeah, that was a long-winded answer, man. So here's the enterprise validator. These are the big guys, right? So like I talk about, you got Google, Sony, Samsung, CAA, which I'm going to talk at depth about CAA. Binance Blockchain, Gummy, I don't know how you say that. And then some private equity institutional group. Who knows who that is? I don't know who that is. And you've got these big players. They are really they're part of the solution for securing the whole network. But CAA, remind me about that.
Is that Creative Artists Agency, CAA?
That is Creative Artists Agency. I'm surprised you even knew that, because I had to look it up.
Oh no, CAA is huge, and the fact that Hollywood and the artist representation, sports representation people got in the game, that means something's coming. They have visions.
So here's the thing. I was going to say that for last, but Alex stole my thunder, which is fine. So CAA joins blockchain Theta. This is on May 27th, 2021. So not, what was it, June 10th? Okay. So not too long ago. Top talent and sports agency CAA joined Theta to help governance and validation of blockchain-based video delivery network. Theta sets out to enable video platform clients to earn more revenue and reduce costs. It also has, and this is the big thing, a non-fungible token marketplace called Theta Drop. I had forgotten about that. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So why is that so big for creative people, artists, and sports figures? Well, it helps them to put out their NFTs. And this was the quote from Michael Yanover, the head of business development. He says, we believe that blockchain tech and the rise of digital collectible NFTs will bring unprecedented opportunities to our family of storytellers, trendsetters, icons, and blah, blah, blah. My question was, well, who the heck are those people? Because I don't know who their clients are. Thankfully, there's this thing called Google, and Google has all the information you ever want to know. So here's a list of all the creative artist agency clients. J.J. Abrams, he did a couple of movies. Jennifer Aniston, Maria, I don't know who that is. Alec Baldwin, Sacha Baron Cohen, Dave Bautista, Catherine Bigelow, Kate Blanchett. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you get where I'm going here, right? So that's a lot of people to do it. So the next question is, why are we talking about this now? Why has T-Fuel jumped up so much? Why has Theta increased so much? Well, with Theta, we kind of know, right? Theta was always going to be big. Why T-Fuel? Here's what's going on. This is going to answer Alex's question. Mainnet 3.0 update. Let me go back up here. When you go to thetatoken.org, you got 20 days left. You got 20 days till this goes live. What is it? It is June 30th release of Mainnet. T-Fuel burning, where elite edge nodes, some of those nodes, will burn at least 25% of each T-Fuel payment to the network. Why did they do that? Why did they put that in as besides price action? I'll get to that in a second. So it's going to take T-Fuel perpetually out of circulation. Currently, the fees on Theta are near zero. And after the proposed increase, it'll still be sufficiently low. And here's the costs. dApps, with a transaction fees of 0.3 T-Fuel for send-to-send transactions, 20 T-Fuel to deploy a smart contract. I'm not going to do that. That's developers. And 1 T-Fuel to interact with a smart contract. So first of all, you got to think to yourself, well, if T-Fuel goes to $1, that's my price prediction. Shocker. news alert. That's a lot of money, right? Because you're like, that's a lot. Why would they do that? Why would they make it so much higher and then burn it, which would also increase the price? I'll tell you in a second. While Theta transaction fees increase, they're still 95% lower than the current fees on Ethereum, making Theta more affordable. Okay. We forecast NFT interactions with Theta alone will reach 600,000 transactions per day, at which point nearly 250 million T-Fuel will be burned per year, canceling out the majority of annual T-Fuel inflation. So that's a good part, but that's not the real reason. The protocol is approaching a fully decentralized state with addition of CAA, along with, we just talked about that, Google, Sony, blah, blah. Theta Labs is running fewer than half of the validators and is taking less than a third of the total amount of Theta. While this is a positive for Theta protocol, a decentralized network can become more vulnerable to certain attacks than one with some centralized control. And this is the reason why they increased the price. An attack spamming small transactions could flood the network and slow or even halt block production, which happened to Ethereum and other blockchains. So what they did is they go, look, we're going to increase the fees a little bit, keep them below Ethereum, but keep them high enough to where you can't spam or shut down the network. And if you do, you'd have a boatload of money and you'd have to, put that into there. So, okay, makes sense. And then lastly, the Theta transaction fee increase will be included in the next protocol update and hard fork estimated to take effect around Thursday or Friday, today or tomorrow. So if you were thinking about T-Fuel, think harder and think faster because this might be the day to jump on board T-Fuel. So I will just give you my quick price prediction. T-Fuel is going to $1 minimum. And then as time goes on, especially what we just talked about with CAA, how many of these people are going to get into NFTs moving forward?
Well, Rob, this is the interesting part of this whole conversation. So when I saw CAA on the deck, that just opens up a whole world because I had forgotten about their NFT platform. So you now have, look at the market that you saw the roster of clients for CAA. You have William Morris, you have IMG, you have a whole plethora of these creative talent agencies that have all these marketable people that can produce, NFTs, content, whatever. It doesn't even have to be just about NFTs. It could be about them being streamers all of a sudden. Then you have, that breaks open a whole nother nutshell, right? What about MLB? What about NFL? What about NHL? All of a sudden, we could see all these people that have rights and ownership to certain talent start coming into the space to invest because it looks like another revenue model for them.
Yeah, and you know what? Before CJ talks to the technicals, one last thing. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think Steve probably did a nice little introduction for a lot of different people in the tech sector. But then there was another one down here. See this guy, Mitch Liu? If you're going to talk about virtual reality and things like that, that is the guy. That is the guy that's going to bring those things to the next level. And I think that's where VR is going to head to, as far as like with Theta online gameplay. What do you need? Streaming services. So if you've got, whoa, sorry.
I got it. Hang on, let me pick it up.
It's my wife. She's telling me, why are you still talking? So again, all these different connections. If you're going to bet on people, if you're going to bet on anything, bet on the people. But just look at the different type of interactions and different prospects that they have going on. It's going to be probably a big thing. Now that could be a lot of hopium, but that's where I see it. And what is the price right now? Oh, first of all, where can you buy T-Fuel? That's probably the next question everybody's asking. Let me go to, walk me through this, Alex.
Sure. I love it. I was waiting for you to remember the function on Trade the Chain that lets you search.
I am an old, it's hard for me to remember anything.
All right. So go to where to buy or where to trade up top navigation.
Oh, the big one that says where to trade. Why don't you just say where, that's where it was? Okay. Theta Fuel. Great. Binance, if you got that works out for most people, not me. Upbit, BKX, Bitmore, BitHum, Gate.io, Indodax, and Wazir. I think that's the one in India, right? Wazir.
I believe Gate.io is that's available to US folks, correct?
It is. I don't like using it that much because I got to transfer any kind of crypto, like, and then transfer it that way. Or if you can do it on Simple Swap. So if you're looking for that, just so you know, there's this handy dandy spreadsheet, which I will link in the description. Hopefully Alex will put it in. These are all the different wallets and exchanges I've ever used. And then the official link to Simple Swap is right there. So
you know something, Rob, I'm gonna let you shill on my channel. I am going to put that in the permanent link because I'm too lazy to put this together, and I trust you. So that way everybody can have resources.
Listen, look, it's tough to be the king of the shill. And right now, I just gave you guys a twofer. I was shilling on my channel an hour ago, and now I'm on somebody else's channel shilling. Not easy. Not easy. Okay.
All right, CJ, let's go into we just covered T-Fuel. Let's do T-Fuel. His price prediction. Everybody didn't hear. Rob is calling $1 by the end of the year. Is that correct?
That is correct. At minimum. I mean, first of all, they're going to raise the cost for interactions. I mean, just CAA alone, and just how everything's growing on THETA.TV. You can find me there. You can find a lot of different cryptos, influencers, or people who create content over there. On top of all the different, like they've got Fail Army. I think they signed a deal with.
I love Fail Army. That is such an interesting videos to watch.
Hold on, let me. Con TV. What is the other stuff? God dang it! Sorry, I just put this on silent. I apologize. NASA. There's a couple of, and then esport gaming is also on there. So that T-Fuel $1 at minimum, very conservative. I think some people will say it's going to 2. I think that's pretty high. And then let's take a look at Theta. Where are we at? Theta token, 870. Market cap 8.7.
CJ, you're going to hit T-Fuel first. Let's do the technicals on T-Fuel. After that, I'll bring up the sentiment charts and see what the world is thinking. But let's do it from a trader's mindset. Now, mind you, there could be opposing opinions here. You know, Rob's doing it from an investor standpoint. You're doing it from an arbitrage standpoint. So I'm interested to hear.
Yeah, let me first just say before I ruffle any feathers that I completely agree with Rob and I respect his analysis. And I do think Theta is a great play long term. Do hold some, Steve Chen, he went to my high school. He's kind of a local hero from where I'm from. So I totally am on board with that concept of betting on people, of course. But in the short term, I think Theta Fuel or T-Fuel has gotten a little ahead of itself. And I'm going to try to draw some comparisons between certain technical levels that not only Theta is reaching, or I should say T-Fuel is reaching, but also some others that have reached these similar circumstances in the past. So immediately what I'm going to point out, is the 9 right here. That is the peak of the trend. That is where we saw kind of the majority of the catalyst of that move. We've also diverged very far away from just our moving average. And typically when we do that, it's almost like a magnet for price. Price wants to go back down and touch the moving average as it comes up. So that's another thing. The next thing I want to draw your eyes to is the CCI, kind of this oscillator right up here, as well as the stochastic, because both of those are in overbought territory and are beginning to show weakness in terms of the overall trend. And so, now that we have an understanding of what the technicals are in Theta, let's try to see, how has a technical setup like this played out in the past for various other assets. And, one of the first that comes to mind, and I have highlighted here, is, Voyager, BQX. We had very kind of similar circumstances in the sense that we had a lot of really interesting fundamental news going on. but the top came in on that 9, and we were very overextended in both the CCI and the stochastic at that particular point. Another one that we see this repetition just over and over again. This example is going to be with Doge, and so you can see in both of these instances we have the CCI show weakness and get into massively overbought territory, as well as the stochastics as well. Then we reached 9s, and we are getting close to coming down. Of course, we did go up a little bit here after reaching the 9, but inevitably we fell and retraced to that ultimate moving average. I like this example a lot with Serum. Very similar thing when we had our run up. So you get a lot of commonalities between these particular indicator circumstances when we're reaching just a local top. Same thing with Decentraland. And these are projects with solid fundamentals, right? Like this was during the NFT mania. Everybody really liked it at that particular point. But all of these three kind of signals were lining up and telling you, hey, there's probably a local top occurring, and we're probably going to go back and test the moving average in the short term. Does that mean that I think the project is going to die or is not worth investing in? Absolutely not. However, I think with a little bit of cunning and a little bit of patience, I might be able to get this token or this Theta Fuel at kind of a little bit of a cheaper price than current. So the levels I'm watching for, I mean, our first and most obvious support level in which we could see a bounce is roughly 48 cents. And then ultimately, I expect the moving average to continue to kind of hold and come up to that level. So anywhere between 40 to 50 cents, I think would be a great buy for Theta Fuel. I just think that judging by what we've seen in the past with so many of these patterns, I have to respect the TA. And I see a lot of people, it's kind of been a common theme. I don't know what it says about me or the market, but I've been getting a lot of criticism about how TA is just, BS, and the entire crypto market is manipulated or just, based on sentiments. And, I get it. I've thought that way before, but all I can say is, ignore TA at your own peril.
Yeah,
I've done it before.
Listen, I always think that there's a handful of things that come into a person's decision making, and that toolkit is going to be made up of a lot of different things. My personal toolkit is TA, technical analysis, sentiment analysis, and always with Rob on fundamental analysis. As a matter of fact, if I want to know the fundamentals of anything, I watch his shows or I ask him what he thinks. And if I want to know anything on TA, I go to CJ and do the same, because formulating your own opinion through all these tools is really what keeps you abreast in the market. If you don't pay attention to any one, you're not getting both sides of the story.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Rob.
I just want to clarify one thing. Sorry. And when I said sentiment, I was more just kind of generalizing about news. I think what Trade the Chain does in their sentiment actual dashboard could almost in itself be a form of TA, but overall you are gauging the emotion of the sentiment. When I was talking about sentiment, I was more referring to just overall like news. Go ahead, Rob.
No. So what I was going to say, there was two things I was going to say. First of all, nobody's 100% accurate, right? Even the last show that we did on Trinity Trading, right? What was the, we were looking at REN, weren't we? REN.
Correct.
And like I talked about the fundamentals and the things that were going great. The sentiment looked pretty solid, but CJ said, and he saved us. He goes, I need a buy-in point or another indicator to hit this certain level. I think it was like 69. Confirmation. It never came. I never bought. And guess what happened? It dipped all the way down. So like, in all honesty, and that's my first part. The second part is, I wish there was a show around like this in 2017, not to toot our own horns, but there is the fundamentals, right? Everything was good and great and fantastic because you believe in it. And if you want to sit around for, years, that's great. But also there's this other factor, whereas like, look, if you want to buy a ton, you can do that, but you got to wait a long time, because guess what's going to happen? When this here's another thing. Mainnet, when that Mainnet 3.0 launches, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, until that time, you're going to see a little dip, maybe a big rise. And then after that happens, what usually happens everywhere else, it just takes a big dump. And you're like, what the heck? Rob said fundamentally the same thing as the CAA. I don't understand. Yes, exactly. But then, and then CJ will tell you like this, look, man, this TA says this. And I will tell you, and I always say this, is that CJ says that people say that TA is nonsense, whatever else. I was the same person in 2018. I even call it astrology. And the only people that I listen to on TA is that guy, the Cryptoverse, Cowan, whatever else, and CJ and Monty. The only ones I feel actually get it right. CJ and Monty get it right a lot. And I'm like, every time I do a show, I'm like, damn it. I'm going to say CJ and Monty are right again. So yeah, go ahead.
They're the dynamic duo. But yeah, no, so true. And so, we just covered Theta, and, as CJ's pointed out, SA sentiment analysis is also its own. It's a derivative of TA, more or less. I mean, Nick Mancini from Trade the Chain, our community officer, he literally does TA signals off of the sentiment analysis. But here we're zooming out 7 days on Theta Fuel, and you can see how we had a lot of positive sentiment for the last 7 days, a little dip, then we had a nice rise again. Folks, the price is in blue. The green and red are sentiment data scraped from social media. And now you could see it kind of in a decline. If we zoom into the 1 day, you could see that it's more or less sideways as far as sentiment is concerned. And it's probably going to be due to the macro environment of the market right now, nothing in particular from a fundamental point of view. But it's interesting. So again, TA, SA, fundamentals, take them all in, find out what's going on in the market and see where it's going. But 54 cents, and Rob's looking for this to go to $1. So
end of year.
And end of year, $1. Not next week.
Not next. No, tonight at 5 p.m. No, like I will say one last thing, and that is that for the T-Fuel, I know it could go down a little bit more, but I'm a long-term investor. I've already bought some today. So take that as you will. Then there's two hats. You get the CJ hat, the trader, and you got the investor hat like me, and then the Alex hat, which is Trade the Chain.
All right, CJ, let's hit up Theta. And Rob, do you have anything to add to the Theta side from a fundamental standpoint?
No, I mean, it's just, there is one thing I'd like to show you, because let's talk about a quick price prediction, because I know people are going to ask me about that. Let's just do this. Let's take Dogecoin, for example. Hold on, is that the right one? Yeah, Brave browser. There we go. Let's take Doge, for example. Doge is, what is that, number 6, number 5? 6, ranked number 6. Circling supply, blah, 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 blah. Look at this part here. Market cap is $42 billion. $42 billion in a meme coin. And I don't care. I'm not interested if you think it's going to the moon or not. I don't really care about that. What I'm interested in is the 42 billion price tag right there. And what does it do? Well, if you want to look at the future, look at Theta. What is the market cap? $8 billion. So who's investing in a Dogecoin? There's a lot of different people. But if you look at like Gen Zers and places like that, they say, well, I like it's going to the moon. What else is more important to those types of people? Maybe streaming services, maybe things like that. If we can push the narrative and go, look, if you really want to invest in the future and you think Dogecoin is going to the moon, you can do that, but hedge your bet, because this one actually has real world utility. It's got a fantastic team. And for it to go to, is it outside the realm of possibility to go from 8 billion to 16 billion and double this price of $8? Here's my price prediction, $25.
Whoa.
Yeah, because just look at where we're at. Why couldn't it do that? That's all I got to say.
$25 by end of year. Now, let me ask you this: Are you going to do an episode this month about taking a look at your portfolio and the predictions you did back in Q1?
Yes,
and see if there's any revisions.
I was grossly underestimating some things. Let's just be honest. So we'll see. I still can't go to the moon because that's not how I how I am, but I want to do it conservatively. $25 does seem a little moonish for Theta, but hey, why not? I just don't understand like the Dogecoin, and people say the power of the meme. That makes no sense. Doesn't make any sense to me. I just want to, if it's something actually works and has utility, why can't it be as well as Doge? That's all I got.
It's a crap coin. Is that what you're calling it?
There are different levels of crappy coins, I guess you could say. But
There's a crap coin on BSC. I'm just saying on Pancake Swap.
I'm gonna buy that just to show people.
All right, CJ, let's go into the fundamentals, or I'm sorry, the technicals of Theta. See what you have to say on this one too. See if you're feeling as bearish as you were on T-Fuel.
I'm not. I think this is way more neutral. We're sitting right at the moving average. So, decent support. I think this one is going to be very reliant on the health and strength of the overall market with Bitcoin and Ethereum. That dictates a lot of how capital will then flow into some of these smaller altcoins. I mean, I guess I shouldn't call it small. What is Theta at? It's the 16th highest cryptocurrency. So it's a real deal. Nonetheless, it's kind of a blue chip crypto, I guess you could say, in the sense that it is on the higher side of the leaderboard, but it's still going to be affected by larger capital flows into Bitcoin. And, we're going to be reliant on that. As far as just technical metrics, I mean, it's pretty neutral. There's not much to say. We're not really hitting any breakout levels. We're just basically consolidating.
Yeah. I've been accumulating Theta for quite some time. I got it when it was pennies, cents on the dollar, because, and it wasn't, and I always say this story, it wasn't me that found this fantastic discovery. I was watching a video from Digital Dave, and he's like, Theta's gonna be awesome. And I was like, I got to take it. And I did my own research, and he was right.
I mean, one day you became like you became like a Theta superstar. You went all in. You were like, wow, this is really great what they're doing.
Yeah. And then I even did a video on like how to stake it, how to run your own nodes and everything else. So,
well,
but thank God for CJ bringing us back down to earth.
Well, zooming out on the 7-day sentiment analysis again, folks. Price is in blue, sentiment is the red and green patches. This chart is actually going along with what CJ had said. So you see some uptick in sentiment here. It's been pretty sideways range bound for the last week. If we zoom into the 1 day, there you go. I mean, it's just too range bound to make a call at this point. And I have to agree with CJ on the short term as far as any upside price action. So we'll see. I do think, and my opinion is, I learned it from you, Rob. So you learned it from somebody. I learned it from you. That's how this game works. And I think it's a great product. And, originally I didn't. And that was because I thought it was a competitor. It was going to be a competitor to YouTube. And then once you explained to me about the partnership aspect of the business growth rather than the competition aspect, then it made a hell of a lot more sense, right? Because as a competitor, you're going up against an 800-pound gorilla. As a partner, you're only accelerating your place in the market.
It's the truth. Yeah, I mean, who wants to compete with that? I don't want to deal with that. Maybe slowly but surely, but no one wants to be there. Definitely not Theta. So it was a good move. It was a smart, strategic move, and it's executed so far pretty well. We'll see what happens in the long term.
All right. So when's Mainnet 3.0 coming out?
June 30th.
June 30th. And do you believe that there's going to be an upward price action based on that release? Is it going to be dramatic, or what are your thoughts?
There's the problem in our industry, which is you're going to see more and more people talk about it, and just that alone will increase the price. But then I want to caution everybody again, listen to CJ, smart guy, knows exactly what he's talking about as far as those fundamentals, but also just remember that as things move forward, you are not a newbie. If you're watching Alex's show, you're pretty well into the game. So what happens when these big events, big pump up, day of or a couple days before or a day before, you judge that it starts to just drop off. So
Yeah.
just be aware that that's what's going to happen.
I mean, personally, I'm going to be looking for some U.S. Exchange listings. I think that market's going to drive it. And so I think not only some price bounces off of listings, but also the added growth from users in the U.S. who want to buy in and currently can't.
Yeah, Steve. All right.
Steve who?
Steve from Voyager. You know what I'm talking about. List that on Voyager, Steve.
Make the folks happy. Give them what they want. Go ahead.
Well, I believe Aave and Matic were just added. So that was
and GRT.
Yeah,
pretty big
GRT.
deal
That's
for
true.
Voyager.
Yeah. Hats off to the team at Invest Voyager, man.
Oh, yeah.
Godly. They did such a great job.
3 of the hottest tokens listed.
Yeah. Not only that, but customer service has been like phenomenal lately. Like I used to get, like I talked about, and it seems like they're just burning right through them. So Steve did exactly what he said he's going to do. Love that team.
I actually, I was just funding a Bitcoin options trading platform because I wanted to trade on LedgerX. And so I just did a transaction like 2 days ago from Voyager, just sent BTC to LedgerX. I got it within 20 minutes. I mean, it was like night and day. So it seems like, things are really turning around. And, if you don't believe me, just test it for yourself.
Yeah. CJ, talk about that real quick. LedgerX, you did it to what? To swap or to trade or to buy? What'd you do?
Yeah, so LedgerX is just a Bitcoin options platform. It was the one that I've been using because it's viable in the US.
That's right.
You can Silvergate is the bank, so you can either transfer, do a wire transfer, or you can just send Bitcoin. That's what I did. I sent Bitcoin, and you can buy calls or puts on Bitcoin, and it's pretty awesome. It allows us to have tools to be able to mitigate risk, which we didn't have in 2017. And it allows for intricate strategies that can really, really give us an edge. And so I'm tremendously excited about that. We're going to be building out a Bitcoin options course as well very soon that I'm excited about.
Market Rebellion, sign up for only $1.
Let me tell you, Market Rebellion has a lot going on, man. If anybody didn't see the announcement a little while ago, they teamed up with Voyager on a broker dealer. So that's going to be exciting.
Holy smokes. Good for you guys. Congrats.
Yeah, big time now.
We want to, anyone can follow a paid group and copy trade. And if you want to do that, no offense or anything, I get it. But we want to empower. We want to provide education, just like Rob does with Dan Teaches Crypto. We want to empower the retail trader to be able to give them and have the knowledge to make the best decisions possible. That's what we're all about, as well as Trade the Chain is. These are all tools, there's all things that help us.
Speaking of which, I dropped a few hints on a Trade the Chain summit in Puerto Rico, maybe the beginning of December. So I'm gonna have to talk with you guys on that. I mean, we may have to give Rob like a starring role as like a conference chairman or something, do the interviews with the big heavy hitters. So, and then of course CJ and the whole team's going to be down there. So we gotta work this out. But I went back to the team. Everybody on our side is up for it. So we're going to try to organize this for people who want to head down to the Caribbean for winter months for a couple of days and talk to some heavy hitters. So we had a lot of good conversations in Miami with people who are willing to do that and take a break and educate. So thank you for joining us.
Who you know. Go ahead.
No, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Of course, we love having Rob on from Digital Asset News. If you're new to the space, Dan teaches crypto.com. CJ, our daily crypto analyst from marketrebellion.com/crypto, and myself from Trade the Chain. Thank you for joining us. I'm really glad we got to talk about Theta and T-Fuel. It was something that was being requested a lot, and we will be back tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. So till then, take it easy and hang on to your handlebars, folks.